Bravo. Sun and Moon episode 137. I just finished it, and I gotta say, bravo. That has to be one of my favorite episodes of Sun and Moon so far. And there's been some pretty great episodes in Sun and Moon. Episode 21 was fantastic. Episode 36 was great. The episode with Mallow and her mother was great. And this, in my opinion, I know people might disagree with me, this episode hangs up there. Because, wow. What do I gotta say? This is definitely the best League episode. There are so many great things here. It's hard for... Where do I begin? So, the battle was fantastic. Now, just to get this out of the way, I knew that Torracat wasn't going to last very long. It put most of the work in episode 136. So, I knew it wasn't going to be in there much longer, so I'm not really too bothered that it went out pretty quickly. But obviously, for the battle focus, it was Pikachu versus Golisopod, and it was just, it was like a mirror of episode 115, where Guzma was pretty much dominating Ash in that episode. But what I like is that it shows that Ash adapted to Guzma's fighting style, and Pikachu was fighting back and doing a good job. Not to mention, Golisopod was pretty tired from his battle with Torracat, so it makes sense, and I just love the battling here. The animation was great. The choreography was great. It was handled. Everything was handled in the battle so well. Now, I don't want to go on about the battle because I could go on all day about how this is up there. It's not the best battle in Pokemon history, but it's pretty up there. I know it's probably a hot take, but yeah, I really liked the Pikachu versus Golisopod. But for me, the great stuff was definitely Guzma's focus, and that's been great the entire Alola League. So everything about it is great because I like the fact how it started out with him laughing off Ash, bringing up Pikachu, just pretty much assuming that Golisopod's going to destroy Pikachu, considering what he did to him in episode 115. But of course, Ash fights back, and when he tries to tell him to give up, Ash is like, nope, we're not giving up, we're going to the very end. And that bothers Guzma, and I love it. Then we get a flashback scene with him losing the Kukui and basically, crying over his loss. And then we have Plumeria's perspective on Guzma, which, she sees Guzma and his tendency to run away, and just that was fantastic. Plumeria may have been taken out of the league a little bit too early for my taste, but man, have they done a great job with their character the last couple of episodes. Fantastic. It makes up for her early loss, in my opinion. And there's even the point when Guzma is, backed into the corner, and he's considering having, if he loses, or if he's losing, to have his grunts actually go and destroy the league or cause chaos. And it's great, too. And while he's thinking that, I believe that's when Ash tried to perform the Z move, and Golisopod tanks it. And that's when Guzma pretty much realizes that, he's been doing things wrong and he doesn't have good teamwork with his Pokemon. And it seems like Ash's words is resonating with Golisopod, and that's when Guzma freaks out and asks himself what he's doing. And then he realizes what he needs to do, and he realizes that Golisopod wants to keep going. And this is fantastic. The anime did it in a subtle way that, it's not just Guzma's changing right off the bat. It just shows it gradually throughout the league. And it goes and it shows like a montage of his past and, his tendency to run away and only go against opponents he knows he could win. And if he can't win, he runs away. And at this point, this is where Guzma changes. And instead of running away, he fights until the very end. And despite Golisopod going down, he doesn't, whine about it. He accepts his loss. And it's the point where Kukui himself seemed to have realized what happened and sees that Guzma changed a bit and welcomes him to come to the next league. And now the great stuff was that despite his loss, I like the fact that his grunts took it well, and in fact they were impressed with his battling style. And then Plumeria is talking to Guzma, and Guzma just sees that, he has people that are behind him. And I also another thing I didn't mention was the grunts themselves, Plumeria mentions that, you can't be optimistic all the time, and they're basically a bunch of, essentially Team Skull is pretty much a bunch of people that are really losers, but in their eyes, Guzma's a winner, and they look up to him, and they idolize him, and I love that, and that was a great job, and I like how they were doing it in a way to where, Team Skull can grow from this, and grow from here. So this was all handled fantastically. Now, I thought it was pretty interesting, too, is that Pikachu and Gliscopod, at the end of their battle, their pose was kind of similar to Infernape and Electivire from the Sinnoh League. I thought that was a little interesting. Kind of a little throwback to that league, so that was pretty nice. But, yeah, gotta say, to get back to Guzma, I like how his story pretty much came full circle. And he did it in a way that's pretty good. I just wish it happened in the finals, though, as opposed to the semifinals. And another reason I say that, besides my previous reasons, is the fact that Guzma had all kinds of second-place trophies shown off in the previous episode. So it would have been great symbolism for him to, come into second place against Ash, and it would have just shown, it would have been some good symbolism there. Because he's always second to Kukui, and he sees Ash and Kukui. So they could have done that, but whatever. Despite that, I'm not bothered at all anymore because this episode was fantastic. It's easily a 10 out of 10. It's the only episode of the league so far that I got to give a 10 out of 10. I just hope that the finals is just as good as this episode was. So hopefully Ash vs. Gladion is great. So yeah, I love this episode. It was great. So guys, that's all I got for this episode. So let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this episode. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think it's one of the best episodes of Sun and Moon like I do? If so, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below and be sure to like and subscribe. So that's all I got today. So I will talk to you all next week. See you all later. Bye.